Hey everybody, this is Dr. J, Professor Spike, coming to you live from Long Island, New York with our special guest, Gene Investing with Anthony. How you doing, Anthony?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. It was fun the last time you were on. You enlightened us about your favorite gene editing plays. I think Intelia, Beam, and CRISPR at that time
Right.
were your
Yeah,
favorites.
I looked psychic for about a day when because the I was last time Intelia was imminent for like some kind of IND approval,
Uh,
and I said it's going to come any day, and then the very next day it came.
Yeah, I haven't been following the sector very much since I got out of both my positions, Intelia and CRISPR. But you were telling us about Intelia. Is that the one with the Nobel laureate Jennifer Doudna?
So yeah, she is tied to that one. I mean, all these guys. I think she's had about 6 companies.
Uh-huh.
David Liu has about he started 10, but I think only 8 are still around.
Uh-huh.
Someone just did a post. One of my followers just did a post on it. Um, but yeah, Intelia is mostly tied to her and Caribou,
I see.
and then CRISPR's more the Sharp TA.
Hmm.
They shared the award.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, which two there's two stocks that I know your favorites are Beam and Intelia, right?
Yeah,
Even though CRISP is going to be first to approval, I think.
yeah. I think I tell people it's a good price too. I mean, I still expect it to be like. I think recently I put out a post. I had to take it down a little because I think last time I thought it would get to like 100 at the end of the year. Um, but I've been kind of surprised with the resiliency of the economy and been pushing out rate cuts and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
think I'm thinking like 85 now is what I hope for. Even I'm not in it, but that's what I've told people.
Last time you took a small flyer, last time you were on, you had a small flyer on CRISPR, I guess you cashed out with a little profit.
Yeah, I did have some um, a while back. I've traded it a few times. It used to be the only one I was in.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you switch to Beam and Intelia over CRISPR?
So I got tired of them. I got tired of them not showing any in vivo programs. So now they show some, but for a while they didn't even have any showing in the pipeline or any timetable as to when they could bring some in vivo programs to the clinic. So that was one thing, and then all their cell therapy programs for cancer. So far, it's been kind of maybe middle of the pack. I mean, nothing super exciting. Yeah, they might get some approvals, but minimal revenues maybe, unless if they're trying to do second
I'm going to
iteration.
stop you for a second. We're getting a lot of static. Do you hear it, Spike?
Yeah, I think it's from Anthony's microphone.
Yeah. Do you have a headset, Anthony?
Um, I don't think I do.
You don't? Sometimes at the beginning when you came on, it was fine. So could you go off and come right back?
Yeah, let me try that.
All right. So it's not coming on our end, right?
No, no, because when you spoke and when I spoke, it was fine.
Yeah.
So could even be the transmission. So you're right, having him come back in is a smart move.
Yeah. Well, when he first came on, there was no static.
You know, he it looks like as much as he's still into it, that it's starting to some of the fatigue is starting to wear in terms of
Yeah.
just waiting and waiting and
Oh,
waiting.
it's typical of all biotech. Let me put him back.
Okay.
It's typical of well, we were just discussing the typical biotechnology effects of long drawn out processes till you get through phase 3 and approval and all the dilution these companies typically go through. that it's difficult for an investor to stay with a company
Exactly.
from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 to approval. And you're someone who is taking that long-term view. So how do you justify, let's say, putting so much into two companies when you're foregoing opportunity risks, or whatever you want to call it?
Well, yeah, it's definitely bad timing because biotech's had like the worst bear market in history of biotech. At least it's
Yes.
fun. I did a post couple weeks back, and it was funny. It had articles from people talking about how it was the worst bear market ever, and these were like 1 and 2 years ago.
Right.
And I'm like, if that was the worst bear market in history, what is it now that it's continued for?
It motivated Spike and I to dub the whole industry biodrec, which is not a very good term.
No, it's not a very complimentary term.
No,
I mean, yeah, you think that, I mean, you say, all right, gene editing sounds like a great idea. Let me get in on the ground floor. And so you invest, and then you find out, oh, there's another offering. Oh, there's another offering. Oh, now they need to raise some more money because of something that the FDA wants. And then after a while, you're saying, all right, something that I put at 12 is now $1.50.
I did do some checking as to the runway for CRISPR and Intellia and Beam before you got on, because I know you're into those stocks. And all three do seem to have multi-year runways in terms of cash.
Yeah, CRISPR has a lot of cash.
Yeah, so it looks like you're in good shape for the next couple of years anyway.
No, but I guess the point is that, is it worth getting into these things when it's early if there's all these bumps in the road? Or do you just wait for the hype and just jump on when the hype
Well,
comes?
I'm trying to time it a little bit better, hopefully. I'm waiting to maybe now is the right time to get into CRISPR with approval potentially December 8th. And the way it's been working in biodrec land is you get out the date of the approval with whatever profit you've made.
The big dates that are coming up, we have sometime this month, Intelli is going to get the decision from the FDA on their first pivotal trial.
An IND
for 2001 cardiomyopathy.
Uh-huh.
So that would be the first ever pivotal in vivo program ever. So that'll be, pivotal is a higher bar for the FDA. So that'll be interesting. And that's a big money. So, hey, maybe we'll get the news tomorrow, like last time.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be sometime this month.
The other problem I see down the road for not only for CRISPR and Intellia and Beam, but most biotech companies these days, they're getting tremendous prices for their drug, especially with the rare disease designation. So it makes it difficult. If you're going to succeed in sickle cell anemia, expect to get $2 million per treatment. Is that realistic?
Well, the way I look at it for a company like Intellia, and they're expected for like 2.5 million for both of their programs, for the HAE and for the ATTR amyloidosis. They're not expecting to capture some huge amount of the market each year. If they get like 2 to 3% of the patient population each year, they're making billions of dollars.
So that means only very wealthy patients can get cured.
Well, I think it's going to get covered. I mean, you have people, the RNAi from different companies like Alnylam and stuff like that. They're paying 500,000-600,000 a year, and people aren't paying that out of their own pocket.
Right.
It's getting covered by insurance companies. We had well, you're from New York, so you might know Pharma Bro.
I don't know Pharma Bro.
Martin Shkreli.
Oh yeah. The fellow who cornered the EpiPen market, I think.
Yeah.
He
So
quoted the Wu-Tang clan market.
he,
He wasn't. But did you check to see if he's got? Well, no, I won't say anything.
yes, he's out of jail.
He's out of
But
jail. Okay.
no, he surprised us. He came on to I'm doing a podcast on the Twitter Spaces,
Yeah.
and he on the last episode he came on and he did a video on ntla, and it's on YouTube. It's like an hour long,
Uh,
and he's not worried at all about them getting it paid for.
no, because he was getting almost that much money for the EpiPen. So why
Yeah.
should he?
Yeah, I mean, if
Right,
you're
right.
going to save the insurance companies a lot of money, it's just a matter of if they decide to do like a payment plan or not.
Yeah.
For a couple years to.
All right. So let's talk catalysts for each company. What's the next catalyst?
Okay.
We mentioned CRISPR December 8th, pending PDUFA for the sickle cell drug, right?
You also have the AdCom.
The AdCom is on the 8th?
Halloween.
On Halloween. Oh, that's closer. Yeah.
That's very fitting.
So the AdCom, if the vote goes against them, they're cooked pretty much.
Yeah, that's why I feel like people, if you're going to place some bets, you probably are going to want to do it here pretty soon before Halloween.
Yeah, I think I'm going to actually go into a little CRISPR again. $43, is it? $42, something like that.
Yeah, it's only worth about 3.3 billion, and they have 1.8 billion in cash.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty wild because Vertex paid 900 million plus 200 million once it gets approved, so like 1.1 billion for 10%.
Wow.
And so if you value it like that, the remaining 40% would be worth well over what the company's worth right now.
Yeah.
Just that one, not even counting the cash.
Maybe you could look at it this way: Vertex overpaid by tenfold.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said. It was 50-50 and perhaps getting the extra 10%, so they're the number one.
Is Vertex considered a CRISPR therapeutics play in and of itself?
I don't think they have. I don't know how much they're doing in house. I know they're doing some diabetes stuff in house, but not. I only consider them that for their partnership with CRISPR.
Yeah. Well, a lot of big pharma makes mistakes often with big money. That's why they're big pharma. They have big money to throw around. So the first catalyst would be Halloween. The AdCom for this I can't even say these words. Beta
thalassemia
and sickle cell.
Yeah, and
it's the same drug, right?
Well, I don't know how they're doing the AdCom if it's just talking about the sickle cell, because the date December 8th is just for sickle cell.
Okay.
The beta thalassemia, they pushed it to like some March or something, April.
I know that beta thalassemia was supposedly going to cure 95% of all patients that receive.
Yeah, there was like one patient that for some reason had a virus or something, and it didn't. The sickle cell, I think everyone was.
CRISPR is also working further down the road on type 1 diabetes, correct?
Yeah, they have some. Vertex actually just gave them like 100 million for some of those rights.
Right. And Intellia, of course, has the HAE, which is also a rare drug designation, correct?
But that one's about like $1 billion peak sales, and amyloidosis is more like $5 billion.
Well, I know an old favorite of ours in the biotech world. That one drug is HAE drug called I forgot already what they called. Do you remember what BCRX? Orladeyo. It's an existing drug for HAE.
Is it from the Ionis?
From what?
From
Ionis?
No, it's called BioCris.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's definitely some There's some competition.
Yeah. But they don't claim to cure everyone. They claim to, I guess, cut down the need for, what is it, transfusions or whatever it is.
Are you talking about BioCris or?
Yeah, BioCris.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the CEO of Intelia doesn't seem too worried about. I mean, that's his job to make his drug.
Right, and the CEO of BioCris is not too worried about Intelia, so
Right.
doesn't seem to be anyway.
Um,
Because
so, yeah.
that's down the road, and there's too many uncertainties.
So the first thing this month we got the Intelia pivotal IND news,
Uh-huh.
and then we have Halloween for
Right.
CRISPR for the AdCom.
Right.
And then November 12th, we haven't talked about yet. That's a big day. November 12th is the Verve 101, first ever base editing in vivo data in the world.
What for base editing for what?
It's for their, it's like cholesterol,
Oh,
it's their Verve
company is that?
101. What was that?
From which company?
Verve?
VERV, right?
Yeah, you didn't mention edit yet, so I just want to.
I'm going to look at VERV in the charts because we don't talk about that one at all usually.
No.
I play it through Beam because Beam has 50% of the US rights.
Oh, I see.
Well, let's take a quick look at the charts if you don't mind. I know you're not a chart guy, but let's take a quick look at it. Hope we don't bore you with this.
The charts probably would have saved me some money over that.
All right, so
well,
CRISPR has had a big slide down from mid. Let's see, when is this? It looks like it topped out at about 5.9.
Yeah, show your screen, Dr. J.
No, actually, it topped out right here on 5. Oh, share screen. Anyway, it was 523 at 72. So we're basically cut in half almost. I'm going to share screen. Let me go back. Yeah, so everyone can see what I'm looking at instead of my just talking.
Right.
Of course, people love to hear me talk.
We have to play along the home game.
Yeah. People love to hear Anthony talk. I hear your spaces on Twitter is going really well.
Yeah, we have some good we have some big like CEOs that are going to join us pretty soon, so that's pretty exciting.
That's really nice. And CEO of Beam is one of them, I think, right?
The CEO of DNA.
Of DNA, yeah, the one that Kathy Wood loves to dump money in.
Yep, that's one. Yeah, Jason Kelly.
What is that called? Ginkgo or what?
Ginkgo Bioworks.
Ginkgo, yeah, Bioworks.
Yeah, it's got a pretty. I would imagine you guys get asked questions about it sometimes because it seems to have a pretty big following on Twitter.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions. Why did it fall from 15 to 2 or whatever?
Yeah, it's under 2. I think
that's the main question.
When is averaging down?
And why is Kathy selling Tesla and Nvidia and buying DNA? That's the second question we get.
Yeah, well, I think she thinks some are getting a little too high, the ones that have money, and then the biotech's getting too cheap.
Yeah, she wants to.
I think she likes to have all the downswings.
She wants more. She wants more leverage.
Yeah, she does need to lower some of her cost averages. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what she needs, but whatever it is, she needs a lot of it and quick.
She needs to pick them at a better time in their life cycle.
Yeah, I'm going to cut us out totally for the moment.
And we have the Lineage Cell CEO coming on next month.
Which one?
I don't know if you guys. It's a smaller company, but it's Lineage Cell.
Oh, Linear Cell Technology Inc. Sure, I know that one. They're into wet AMD, I think. I could be wrong. It's
in California. It's Lineage Cell. I think.
Yeah, but what's their product? Isn't it wet AMD? Something for the eyes? I believe their drug is maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was for the eyes. All right.
So that's
5/23/2023 was the high at $72 year to date high that appears on my screen. And if I drew a trend line, and that trend line is unfortunately holding pretty good, and it's a descending trend line. I caught a bounce on this flag pattern earlier in the year. I caught that bounce. I was in for it. Got out. Got out in drips and drabs at about 49. So I got out when it broke this support area at 51.65. Made me get out. Shook me out. And now it looks like it may have bottomed here. Let's hope at $40.72. And with the catalyst coming, keeping that in mind, it might be a good flyer to buy this prior to Halloween. And Halloween, judging from the pumpkin in front of my house, it must be getting near.
Yeah.
the more it smells, the closer you are to Halloween.
You know something? The animals in around my house seem to be nibbling on my pumpkin. I never
Really?
had that happen before. Maybe do rabbits like pumpkin? I know we have a rabbit family.
I'm sure you have other green stuff that they could eat instead of the pumpkin.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's eating my pumpkin. Anyway, this looks like it broke support at last few days, and now back above it, which is a good sign. This support area was at about 42. And it did get to a little bit lower. It got to 41. So it basically it didn't really break it, not clean anyway. So it dipped its toes below support, and it looks like this support area may hold. So if this support area holds, there's a good likelihood it'll test the resistance area up here. Let's take a look at what number we're looking at here. $51.92. So we could get a nice run off the charts from right about here at 43, let's say, to 52 or 51 or even 50. An 8-point play is pretty good for a $40 stock. That's like 20%. So if you're looking for a play here, this might be a short-term play. Longer term, you also have the December 8th catalyst. And who knows, maybe that'll take it up to this $58 area. That's what it looks like it's eyeing. So with good news, I think $58 by the end of the year, it looks like a reasonable assessment of CRISPR. How does that sound to you, Anthony? I know you're not a chart guy, but
I think if the AdCom goes really well and it gets approved, it's going to be a lot higher than that. But
you think we can make a high for the year?
well, I don't know what the high is. Was the high only in the 70s for the year?
On
Yes.
the year to date is 72. I'm not sure I'm not sure the last 12 months, but probably. Let me just go back.
Yeah. Are you looking at 12? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 72 is the 12-month high.
I'll stick with my 85.
So you're taking the over.
But that's if, obviously the AdCom goes well and it gets approved in December, and I expect good data for the Verve program on November 12th. And they all kind of positive stuff for one of those is going to play well for everybody.
It'll be a shot in the arm for the whole industry.
Yeah.
I agree. So while CRISPR may show the greatest move, I think Intelia will be right behind it.
And when these things get the momentum traders behind it and the chart, people like you guys behind it, it really can explode.
Well, let's look at a 5-year chart. It exploded. Okay. It was as high as
220.
$220.
Yeah.
That's really an explosion. And it's within the same time period was as low as $32. So it went from 32 to 220. That's a nice little move. I don't expect we get that kind of move, but
No, I think 85 if everything, I mean a lot of it's gonna depend on the war in Ukraine, this new war, some of that
and
stuff
just the
matters.
market is the market going up or down in general. Are we rallying or are we selling? Are we in a bear market, a bull market? That kind of thing.
I do think if someone posted the chart on X yesterday or something, the the discrepancy right now between the Nasdaq or or Nasdaq 100 and biotech is crazy. It's like,
I can take a quick look at that. Why not? I'll take a look. I'll take a look at that comparison. He compared the Qs or Nasdaq NDX. Probably
or
the Qs.
I can check real quick.
It doesn't really matter. I'll compare the Qs with the
XBI,
XBI, right?
yeah, that would be good.
There are the Qs and XBI. XBI. Oh. I mean, well, the Qs have been nothing short of sensational, while the XBI has been nothing short than horrendous, nothing less than horrendous. So I
Yeah,
guess you would expect this kind of thing. This is for over 5 years. Let's look at over 1 year. Over 1 year, it might even be more of a discrepancy.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Most of the differences come in the last.
we're up 37%. 37% in the last year on the Qs. We're down. What are we down for? Minus 5.53. So it looks like something like that.
Yeah,
So it's like a 40 huge discrepancy, 40%.
a lot of people are worried about, well, what happens if the QQQs and Nasdaq get hit hard? Isn't that going to mean the biotech's going to get hit hard too? But I don't see that. I think if anything, I don't see much that's as cheap as biotech right now.
I think that some companies in the space are viewed as recession proof, while others could take a big hit. The ones that need money could take a big hit.
Yeah, that's why, even though a company like Prime has possibly the most exciting tech, I've stayed out of it because they only have like 220 million in cash compared
Sure.
to all the ones we talk about have over a billion.
Right.
Um,
Right.
well, at least the three main ones that we talk about.
Yeah, if as long as the company doesn't have to go to the credit markets to raise money or a dilute or whatever, they should be okay. I mean, there's a lot of companies in the big pharma space that had great years, like Eli Lilly and others, Novo anything with the fat drugs.
Yeah, the big pharma that has the money rolling in, they're fine.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily understand buying them. I don't try to buy the strength.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if you know Blue that well, but they have a sickle cell drug scheduled for FDA approval. I don't know when. Probably maybe in December. They've gone through an AdCom already. Do you know that?
They weren't required to, maybe for different drugs they were, but not for this
Okay.
go around.
So they're up for approval as well. Do you think they have the better sickle cell drug or
Well, I forget what it's called, the ICER report that came out, and it did slightly favor Blue, but if you look into it, it's mainly only because gene therapy has been around longer. It really had no basis on the drugs itself, because anyone I talk to, for the most part, thinks that the CRISPR drug's a better, safer drug.
Let me look at blue versus.
But blue is cheap.
Let's just look at a quick shot of blue. Now you say they're not CRISPR. They have a different technique, right?
Yeah, no, it's just gene therapy.
When you say just gene therapy, what's the difference?
Well, they're not editing. They're not using any kind of CRISPR whatsoever to actually edit. Like
Uh-huh.
a lot before CRISPR, a lot of these things were just gene therapies.
How would they carry it out with viruses, that kind of thing?
Yeah, mostly with the AAV viruses. Yeah.
Uh,
The,
yeah.
the the one thing to consider with blue, because I know people that like both of them, because blue is so cheap. But the problem is blue doesn't have much money, and they don't have a big partner like Vertex to help really push it out there.
And no, they also don't have a big partner to take half their revenues away.
Right. So there's positives to both. Like the positives for blue, it did get slightly a better report on I think it was like a B plus to a B. I think blue might have got a B plus and CRISPR might have got a B on the
Well,
IC report.
we're pretty near rock bottom on blue. I had an update today. It looks to me like maybe buy both of them would be the safer way to go. Buy blue and CRISPR. One of two.
Well,
If one of them makes,
Blue doesn't have a Halloween with events coming.
yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about the very little about the fundamentals of blue. So,
The Most people think they're both going to get approved. It seems like.
uh-huh.
Um, the question is how well they're going to do. I think they'll both do fine. So it probably is a good idea to possibly, if you want to play that route, just for.
Could you give me your contact info on Twitter in case anyone wants to get in touch with you?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'll put it up in the comments. What is it at?
Oh, gene investing.
In investing. Is there a hyphen or?
No, it's just capital G, capital I.
Do you need the capitals?
I don't know. It's a good question. I usually always put the capitals.
Probably don't. Probably not. I think it ignores
Yeah.
upper and lower case. So Outgene Investing, and your name is Anthony.
Yep.
And you don't mind people contacting you, I assume?
Oh no, I don't mind that.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, it's been really great having you back, and we normally go about a half an hour, so we're going to wind up. We want to have the honor of some closing remarks.
sure. I would say like we talked about, it's a good time probably to play some bets. Whether that's on CRISPR, maybe even blue if you want to go that route.
And you have your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Well, if you 99% if you count my coin collection.
All right, so it's been really great, Anthony, and we're going to look forward to having you on for a third time, and then maybe not wait quite as long. I think it's been about close to a year, maybe.
I don't know, maybe at least 6 months.
Yeah, it's been a while.
All right, so we're going to have you on more regularly, whatever that means. And considering Spike and I are very irregular people, so I'm not sure what that means.
Well, I think we're going to have some good news in the space. So hopefully, sentiments.
Yeah, maybe early January we'll have a bit.
And Spike, you and I have to pop in on one of Anthony's spaces. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, I record all of them. So far we've had 8. And I have.
What's the biggest number you've had on spaces?
I think episode 2. Well, the biggest number in terms of total people that have watched, like even after the fact.
Right.
I think it's over like episode 2 is over 3,600.
That's very good.
But they're not all that big. I expect the one with Jason Kelly to be pretty big.
Uh-huh. He's the CEO of LCTX, you said?
No, that's the DNA.
Oh, the DNA guy. All right. I'll try to tune in for that one. Adios, amigos. Ciao. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Anthony.
Really
And we'll
Yeah.
look forward to seeing you back here again. Ciao.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks, guys.